Hi, this is Gary from Pixami with an introduction to our YB Essentials online yearbook software. YB Essentials was launched in the 2020 to 21 school year and is based on Pixami's popular Yearbook Pro software, which is the leading online white label yearbook solution. Compared to Yearbook Pro, Essentials has a simpler interface with less advanced design tools, a little bit less collaboration features, and a content selection that's more appropriate for elementary and middle schools with a lot more automated design features. YB Essentials is a great choice for smaller teams, smaller books, and more novice designers. And with a lower price, it's a great way to get started in the yearbook business. And the best part, YB Essentials has a full, easy upgrade path to Yearbook Pro. Even in the middle of a season, a school can upgrade from YB Essentials to Yearbook Pro if they feel that they need more advanced functionality. Okay, so we're looking at the login page for an individual school, which in this case happens to be my demo school. Just like Yearbook Pro and all of Pixami's other software, YB Essentials uses HTML5, the latest and greatest internet technology. It's totally online. It doesn't require any downloads or installations. It also runs on just about any device from Mac and Windows laptops to Android, Apple tablets, phones, and even Chromebook. And last but not least, the software is brandable. You can put your logo here, your school's logo here. You can rename the software, brand the documentation, the sales materials that we provide, and so forth. Okay, with that, let's get started with the demo. I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And we see the first page of the software, which is the Yearbook Ladder. The software only has 3 main pages, plus an editing page makes 4. And you just navigate back and forth by clicking these buttons at the top. So I'm going to start with the Yearbook Ladder page, and then we'll move through the rest of the software. Also at the top, it's important to point out the software has a lot of built-in help. So if I click on help, first of all, I've got any current messages here that relate to activities in the book. So right now it's telling me I have portrait photos which have not been used in the book. That's really, really good to know, right? I've also can see that my yearbook is 0% complete, and this will be updated obviously as I move through. And then down here I've got a direct link to the page of the user guide that talks about the Yearbook Ladder. And this also will pull up the entire user guide in another window. If you don't like user guides, which most people don't, we've also got video help. If you click on video help on any page of the software, you'll get a detailed tutorial. Great way to get started with the software. I always tell people to do this. Click on each page of the software and watch the little video. Just walk through the tutorials. Really, really easy to get started. Okay, so back to the Yearbook Ladder. The Yearbook Ladder, as you probably already know, allows you to break the book up into sections. Really makes it easier to organize. You can also assign different sections to different people so that you can collaborate on the book together. Okay, and if I click on a section, it brings that section into view. If I click on preview, I can pull up that section and see a little more detail and so forth. Okay, let's start by making a new section. So I'll click the new section button, and I'm going to go ahead and call it classes. And let's go ahead and make it 10 pages. Okay, and then I can choose content for my section. Okay, one of the big advantages of YB Essentials is it's got a whole bunch of different built-in themes in all kinds of unique styles. So you do not have to be an advanced designer to build great looking, beautiful pages with YB Essentials. Okay, you can simply choose one of the designs that you like, and it gives you a great head start. You can change any of this stuff out later, as I'll show you. There's a companion book to the software. It's a PDF file that's called the Pixami Content Reference Guide, and it goes through all of the content from clip art, backgrounds, layouts, fonts that are available in the software. And there's quite a bit to choose from. But this theme allows you to get, again, a really, really good head start. And it's really, really comforting for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing from a design standpoint. So with that said, let's click OK, and we've got a new classes section in our yearbook. And you can see it's been added to the end of my book over here. Okay, I can also organize in the ladder by drag and dropping. So if I put classes there above fun, it changes its location in the book. See, it's now above the fun section. It updates the page numbers automatically and so forth. Okay, to get started on designing this classes section, I'll click the Checkout for Editing button and we'll launch into the editor. Okay, so now we're in the editor. This is where we actually design our book. Over on the right-hand side here, we've got a preview of our section, what it looks like right now. And so you can see all of these themes were professionally designed. They already include image frames, text frames, clip art, all that goes together with this particular theme. You can build an entire book from one theme, or you can mix and match different themes. You can change out anything that Pixami's done here too. But it gives you, again, a really, really good head start and should make you feel really comfortable about designing a great looking book. Okay, so we're going to start now, and by the way, so over here, these are all design elements, and these are drag and drop onto the page. So as we move through and design the book, I'll hit on each one of these. So we're going to start with candids. Okay, candids are folders of photos that we can use to fill our book. And the software organizes photos in folders according to the section of the book. We made a classes section. Let's go ahead and add some photos into the classes folder. And I'll just click and I can navigate my hard disk, and I've got a bunch of photos I'll just upload here. Okay, so now I've got some photos to use. You can organize photos any way that you want, but the software keeps it nice and organized for you out of the gate. And then the uploader, as you see, it's really quick. It'll give you error messages if you accidentally upload a Word doc or low resolution files, stuff like that. And you can queue up photos as it's uploading and so forth. But you can see really, really easy to get some photos into the book. Okay, so now we're going to flow my photos into our pages and start building this thing out. Easiest thing to do is just autofill. It'll take all of these photos and it'll just fill them into all of these image frames. Okay, so my pages start to come together. If I don't like the placement of a particular photo, I can drag and drop and place a different image there. These little check marks keep track of the number of times each one of these images was used in the book. Okay? If I want to crop this photo, you'll see I've got a crop tool. I can come in, maybe I'll just crop it a little tight. Okay? We can come in and very easily crop. We've got some other things that we can do here. I can come in and add a border to this image, for example. So make it a little thicker. I can select a color. And I can select from a color picker. I can also build my own color palette, school colors, custom colors, and things like that if I want to down here. And we'll click OK. And then let's go ahead and apply this border to all the images on the page. So there you go. So we've got crop, borders, we've got rotation, we've got all kinds of different image effects and special effects here. This is delete, and there's some more advanced stuff down there. I might show you in a minute for an advanced designer. Okay, but that's how easy it is to get your images in. Okay, so we've also got a text box here. Works basically the same way. I'll start by clicking on the T. Just type in some text. And again, with the themes that are already built in, they include text already built in, the appropriate size, font, and so forth. It's telling me I have an overflowing text box, so I typed in too much information for that title. It's really probably just a descender that's Going a little bit past that box, make the box a little bit bigger, and there we go. That warning goes away. So there's all kinds of different warnings, low resolution images and things like that. If I take a text box and I move it off of the page, it tells me I've got a text box too close to the edge, and it gives me a little warning here, okay? It's gonna stay there until I move that text just right back into the page, and then that warning will go away. So you can see you can also come in and you can move things around a little bit just to do some fine tuning. But that's really how easy it is to build your Candid pages. So see, as a novice user, you can just use the pre-built professional Pixami pages and come in and fill it out. Okay, I move to the next page here, and I'm just going to go ahead and autofill, and I'm going to fill up the rest of them with the same photos. I'm kind of cheating, but just to give you a little bit better idea. Okay, what you also see is we've got clip art built on these pages, and I can come in, I can grab and enlarge the clip art, I can move it around. If I click on this little down arrow, I can control my layering. So I can bring it to the front if I want to. Okay, so hopefully you can see that it's really, really simple stuff. If you're a novice designer, you can literally just stick to adding the photos, doing some basic cropping, and adding some text, and you can be assured that you'll have good looking pages. If you want to get a little more adventurous, you can look at some of these other things down here. We've got backgrounds here. Backgrounds go behind the main page design. And so I can come in here and choose a different category and drag a background onto the left page or onto the right page, or I can drag a single background onto the entire spread. And you can mix and match backgrounds from all of the different content that's available. Okay, you've got undo and redo up here. So if you don't like what you did, I don't like this particular background, I can go all the way back to where we were before. Okay, we've also got clip art, which is all your standard clip art in lots and lots and lots of categories. And then we've got elements, and the elements are more tied to the individual themes. So you see we've got these different design elements as part of the background, but in this case I can go ahead and take one, and I can drag and drop, move it around, put it on top of the image. Okay, so it's actually pretty fun to build your pages, and hopefully, you see you should be pretty comfortable with it, again, even as a novice designer. Okay, and that pretty much covers the tools. There's a lot of other stuff here. You can see there's tools up here. If I look at this clip art, it has its own toolbar. I can do things like, change the color of this ladybug. Let's just change it to red, and go ahead and click OK. So you've got a lot of different things that you can do here. Okay, so that's how Candid design works. So now let's go a couple pages in, and we'll go one more page in, and let's lay down our portraits here. Okay, so over on the left we also have portraits. I've uploaded one folder of 6th grade students. These are just our sample portraits, of course, and I'll show you how to go ahead and put your portrait pages together. Okay, we do that by clicking on the portrait wizard. A wizard is just a little step-by-step process for doing things. And the first thing it's going to do is ask me to select portrait folders. Over here would be all of my portrait folders, grade 5, 6, 7, 8, and so forth. And then on the right, I just drag to the right the folder that I want to use. I've only got one, so I'll drag grade 6 to the right, and I'm ready. Queued up my photos. We'll click on the portrait wizard, and we open it up. Okay. I have the option to load saved portrait settings. It's going to load by default the last ones I used. So I'll go ahead and click OK. Portrait settings contain everything that's in here, all of your settings that we're going to go through. And it's a really cool way to just save them so you can recreate identical portrait pages in other pages, other sections of the book, even next year and the next year and the year after that. So all this stuff stays with the software over time. Okay, so now what I've got over on the right a preview of the current page that I'm on in my section. And then down below I've got little thumbnails of my section, okay? 10 pages, And we built the first few pages by designing them. And then I can go back, through it. I can see the pages that we made. Okay, and I can decide where I'm going to start my portraits. I'm going to start them right here. Okay, so we're going to take this page of the section and we're going to lay down our portraits. Okay, I like to go ahead and just click apply and see what it looks like. So there we go. This is a default set of portraits. Down at the bottom, really helpful, this little help and info section here tells me I've got 32 portraits in one folder, my 6th grade folder, and I need 2 pages with the current portrait settings. Portrait settings are this: 20 portraits per page, okay? 32 portraits, thus 2 pages. So it's good to do a little bit of math sometimes, do some pre-planning of this, and kind of, most people enter this knowing kind of how many pages they have to work with, how many students they have to work with, and so forth. But the software gives you a lot of hints. And speaking of that, again, video help. This pops up a video help for the Portrait Wizard right here that shows you how to use this feature. Okay, so say I want to change things around a little bit. If I want my images a little bit bigger, let's go 16 pages, or I can even go 12 pages. Okay, or I'm sorry, 12 portraits. If I went 12 portraits per page, now I need 3 pages of 12 portraits per page to lay out my 32 portraits. Okay, so you can come in and play with all this stuff. Of course, I could also put them all on one page if I wanted to. Okay, I can try all of these different styles to get it the way that I want it. Let's stick with 20. Okay, if I want to, I can add a teacher. There's a teacher frame. I can click yes and add a teacher frame. If the teacher portrait is in the same folder, I'm going to show you how we upload portraits in a little bit, but if the teacher portrait is in the same folder, we click this box and the teacher shows up in that position. I can also add a border, so let's go ahead and a border to all our portraits, and I can change the color and so forth. So all the stuff that we did previously can also be done on your portrait pages. I can add a header. Let's just call this grade 6. And I can choose a font, 100 or something fonts built into the software. I can choose the font size, and then I can go ahead and hit apply to page. Okay, so let's say this is the way that I want my portraits to appear. Everything looks good to me. I'll go ahead and click the next page. I don't want my teacher replicated on the next page, so I'll turn the teacher frame off, click apply. And there we go. There's my 2 pages. And so I've got my first page of grade 6, my second page of grade 6. And if you look down here, here's what it looks like in the actual book. Okay, so literally that easy. You see I've got some other things too. Name position, if I want to put the names below, I can do that. If I need the names on 2 lines, I can do that. I can change the font and size for the names and so forth. Okay, I want to put it back just so everything looks nice and neat. But that's basically it. Okay, really, really easy to lay out your portrait pages. You can queue up a lot of classes and do them all in a row, or you can do one class at a time and just use the same settings for each different class as you move through the book. When you're done, you can go ahead and click OK. Again, it's going to prompt me to save my settings. It's going to prompt me also that I have a low resolution photo. That's actually that demo teacher photo. And so this is a good example of the low resolution warning, and I'll show you this in a minute. Teacher photo is a little too small. I noticed that, but I ignored it. So go ahead and say, okay. It's going to keep pinging me on that till I fix it. And then I can also save my settings. I'll go ahead and just save the settings that were already there. Oops, click no. Okay, I closed the Portrait Wizard, and you can see now I've got my portraits laid out on this spread within my section. At this point, I've got access to all of the different functionality that we looked at earlier with respect to Canon pages. So I can add borders and colors and things like that. I can drag clip art onto the page. If I cover portraits, it's going to tell me no, that's a no-no. But I can take this guy and I can send him to the back, and those warnings will go away. If I want to, maybe I'll change the color so he doesn't conflict with the portrait so much. So again, you can really come in and fine tune once you've used the portrait wizard to lay out your panel pages. Okay, the last thing that I'll say with respect to portraits is if you add a portrait or if you make a correction of a student name, for example, and you do it on the photos page in the software, everything will automatically update here and it will notify you. So you don't have to worry about missing students or anything like that if you use the portrait wizard in conjunction with Pixami's portrait upload. And I'm going to explain a little bit about that next. Okay, so that should give you a pretty good idea of how the editor works. Hopefully you think it's easy peasy. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Exit. Again, I have a low resolution warning. There's the teacher with the low resolution warning. That's not going to leave me alone until I actually swap that out with an image that fits. But for right now, I can say, okay, I understand. I'll fix it later. And click OK. Back to the Yearbook Ladder. Now we're going to go to the Photos tab. And on the Photos tab, I've got my Candids and my Portraits, and then a couple other things I'll show you. For Candids, I can organize them in different folders. In the Classes folder, I already uploaded a bunch of photos. I can upload more right here on this page. I can select them. I can copy them. I can, let's say, I want to move some into a different folder. So I moved them out of here into the introduction folder. I can look at the photos a little bit larger with some photo information and move through a little slideshow. So all your organization of your candidates happens here. You can also click on New Folder, make your own photos, and so forth. And so you can have a big collection of photos that you can use to build out your pages. The check marks here show me which photos have been used. If there's no check mark, it hasn't been used yet. Okay? With respect to portraits, everything works very similarly, but we import from a PSPA CD using an index file. I won't go through all that right now for the sake of time, but essentially step one, you upload your index file. You got that from your portrait photographer. It's basically a layout of all the different students along with all their data. So first name, last name, homeroom, grade, and so forth. The software reads that file and then it uploads all the portraits and organizes them for you. In this case, I only uploaded grade 6. Again, I might have grade 5, 6, 7, and 8 here all organized in different folders. In kindergarten, you organize by class, typically homeroom. So I might have kindergarten, Mrs. Wilson, and then a folder for kindergarten, Mr. Smith, and so forth. If I click on a portrait, I can see all of the students' data. Okay. If I want to, I can also click Edit Metadata. This is the PSPA file for all you techies. You can see all of the data that was available, not much in this actual demo, but all the data that was available here. And this is just another really easy way to update all your portrait information. So really that's simple. Organize your portraits here, automatically flow them in on the editor. Couple other things on photos while we're here. Photo Post. Photo Post is a really, really cool way to collect more candid photos and portrait photos for your book. Okay, so I already made a folder here called Community Submissions, and I'm going to click Invite. I can type in some email addresses of people that I would like to submit photos for the yearbook. Maybe it's a parent with a nice camera at the last field trip. Or in the case of distance learning, maybe I have a project where I want students to send in a photo of their home work environment. There's endless ideas for generating all kinds of cool content for your yearbook and soliciting your students and your parents to help you fill your yearbook with photos. It makes for a way more relevant yearbook as well, and one that people really want to look at so they can see the stuff that they provided. So in any case, I click OK, and they will simply get an invitation via email. Allows them to upload their photos directly here into the software. Once people have uploaded into this folder, you'll see all the photos here. They can't see anybody else's photos, by the way. You'll see their photos. You can move them into the appropriate folder and choose whether or not you want to use them in the yearbook. So photo post, again, really, really cool feature. Super secure. It's inside the Pixami software. People that you invite cannot see the yearbook. They cannot see anybody else's photos. So really, it's just kind of a blind Dropbox that allows you to collect content into different folders that you create for your yearbook. Okay, and last but not least, clip art. The software has tons and tons of clip art. I can create my own folders and upload my own clip art. And this can be PNG files. So PNG files with a transparent background. So if you have a school logo, mascot, other clip art, you can create endless folders here and upload all your own clip art and then drag it onto the pages. Okay, another thing that's cool about the Pixami software is you can use it year after year and your libraries will just build up. And so if you add your own clip art for your school, it's going to be there next year and the next year and the next year. Okay, and lastly, we'll look at the users page. On the users page, I'm the only user here. We'll go ahead and click add user, and we can just type in a name for another user, type in their password, and we've got two roles here. We can assign roles to different users. A role of none means that user doesn't exist. That's actually how you delete them. A role of user just means they can edit and manage all the sections in the book. A role of administrator allows them to do all that plus submit the final book. And so the administrator would usually be, almost always be, a yearbook advisor or whoever's responsible for the yearbook at the school. And so the advisor can set up additional users and just make them kind of helpers on the book. Okay, and so that's the way that works. And as an aside, Yearbook Pro has 4 user types and unlimited users. And so one of the big differences is extensive collaboration in Yearbook Pro that you don't need really in the type of environment that we're intending for YB Essentials. Okay, that's it for users page. I will show you one more thing that I think is kind of cool. If I click on this little user icon for me, I can see everything that I've done. So you can see, click on any individual user and you can see all their activity. Okay, you can see when they've logged into the book, what they've done. You can see that my portraits were just flowed in and so forth. And so this is a really cool way to see who's doing what. Okay, last thing I'll do, let's just come back to the yearbook page and I'm going to show you 2 more things. I think it's important to show you the cover because a lot of people ask about that. So you've already seen the designer. We're going to take the cover back into the editor here. I've already got a cover that I built, but you see it's already got all these elements that are already put together. And so if we look at this Elements tab, we've got a cover studio and all this content changes all the time. But let's say I want to come in, I'll delete this coming together. And let's say I'll choose a year to remember, which 2020 is definitely a year to remember. And I'll go ahead and drop that on there. If I want to, I can also change the color. Okay, in this case, it will change the color of the text. I can use this one if I want to change the color of the background. And so we've got all these built-in slogans. Maybe I don't like that one. And I'll use life in color. I like that one. And then I can, again, I'll change the color. I'm not a designer, you guys. You probably already figured that out about 10 minutes ago. But I do want to show you how cool this is. And so I can come in and choose all of these Pixami built-in graphics and just literally drag them onto the page to put a really nice cover together. Okay, this is just a piece of clip art. And so if you can drag and drop, you can create your own custom cover. The software also has a bunch of layouts and backgrounds that are built in for different cover styles and things like that. Okay, so that's the cover. I made it look a lot worse. I apologize. But I'll go ahead and click Save and Exit. And then the last thing I want to show you is how do we submit the finished book. The software has a process for completing pages to get you to a finished book. So let's say this classes section, we think it's probably done. What we usually want to do is proof it. And so if I click this PDF proof button, we'll just look at classes, but we can look at all sections if we want to. Click OK. The software is going to generate a PDF proof. It's going to generate in a new tab in my browser. You can't see the top of my browser, but I'm in Chrome, and I've got a new proof tab that just got added, and it's rendering this PDF. This is a watermarked medium resolution PDF that you can print out in the classroom for proofing purposes. See, it says proof right here. It's not something you can run down to Kinko's and print out your yearbook, but it's really, really handy for proofreading and just for overall looking at the book. So typically you're going to print this out. The administrator, the advisor is going to look at this, review all of the pages in this way. You can do these anytime that you want. Okay, once you're sure that this is done, then you're going to mark this section complete. Okay, and it'll say, are you sure? I'll go ahead and click yes. This section's complete and this section's locked. And so that's the goal. I want to get all these other sections to that stage, mark them complete. And then the final step is this big green check mark. This can only be done by an advisor. Again, the person responsible for the book. They click it, mark reviewed. Okay, I can mark this section reviewed. I can mark them all reviewed if I want, but I'll just go ahead and mark this section reviewed. This section is now in a review state. It's locked. No more editing button. No one else can check this section out. It's done. The goal of the software is to complete and then review every section. Once it's all been submitted, software is locked. You get a new submit button here. You click submit and you follow the steps to do a final review and submit a finished PDF for print to your yearbook company. The process for doing a final submit is controlled by the Pixami software, but it's got a lot of variability and flexibility based on who your yearbook provider is. You know, they might be sending you a press proof. They might have you verify an online PDF and so forth. Okay, and so that's basically the process. We're done. We built a quick little yearbook in half an hour, and hopefully you got a good idea for how it works. And so, again, I am Gary Wood. That is Pixami YB Essentials, Pixami's new and essentially beginner, basic, novice yearbook software as an introductory companion to Pixami Yearbook Pro. Any other questions? Again, www.pixami.com is our website, and I thank you very much for sitting through the demo. Don't hesitate to get in touch with us with any questions. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of your day.